everybody, welcome back to Solve with Danny. I got a request to do a few more practice problems with finding the equation of a circle when it's either given like the diameter or passing through 2 points or maybe even the circumference of the circle. So let's start by writing out the general formula of a circle. So we can have a reference point, okay? So x minus h the quantity squared plus y minus k the quantity squared equals radius squared. So this first one, hopefully not too shabby. We're going to do x minus 3 the quantity squared plus y. Now it's going to be minus negative 7 the quantity squared. So instead of writing minus and negative, because that's gross, right? We are going to make that an addition symbol. And equals our radius squared, which is 7 squared. And more likely than not, like in your multiple choice type of questions, they're going to simplify that radius. So let's write it out as 49 instead of 7 squared. Just so you know, they're both the same. It's all good, okay? So next, we are given the diameter of 10. Let me switch colors here. We still have a center point, so that's nice. So when you see that negative 4 or negative 6, it's going to be minus a negative. So let's make both of those addition. So x plus 4 the quantity squared plus y plus 6 the quantity squared equals, now if the diameter is 10, the radius is going to be half of that. So our radius is 5, and we know this is going to be r squared, which will be 25. So I'm going to say equals 25, just because you're more likely to see the equation written that way on the test that you're going to be given. All right, and again, at any point, feel free to like pause the video and see, can you do it solo without me? And then press play when you're ready to see, how did you do? All right. Okay, so this first one is giving us the center point, and then it's giving us some other point on the circle. So we can do the first part of this equation. So we can have our x minus 3 the quantity squared plus y minus 2 the quantity squared. But what is the radius? Well, the radius is the distance between the center point and any other point on the edge, the circumference of that circle. So we get to do distance formula. So our distance formula, if you recall, x2 minus x1, the quantity squared, plus y2 minus y1, the quantity squared, all underneath that square root. So fun. So fun. So if it makes you happy, you can label these as x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. Order doesn't matter. The subunits must go together, though. That part, super important, okay? And I do apologize if you hear a little background noise today. A little noisy in the Sadler house today, all right? So distance equals 11 minus 3, the quantity squared, plus 17 minus 2 the quantity squared. Now I like to simplify under my radical. So 8 minus 3 is 8 squared, or 11 minus 3 is 8 squared, plus 17 minus 2, we're going to get 15 squared. I'm running out of space. So fun. But we can type in 8 squared plus 15 squared right in our calculator. We can do that all at once. So it's all good. So we get square root of 289. So therefore, we get 17. And D, I'm saying, is distance here, not to be confused with radius or diameter. Excuse me. So the length or the distance of our center point to our edge, the length of that radius, oh my goodness, is 17. So our radius is 17. Just kind of like write that off to the side wherever you got some space. So we can write this as 17 squared, or we can write it as the evaluated form, 289. Either is valid. It's all good. So I know you're like, distance formula was another unit. Well, it comes back to haunt you. So enjoy. All right. Okay, this next one is really exciting because it's giving us the endpoints on our circle. So if you want to get like a little visual here, you've got some endpoints of the diameter, but we don't have a center point either. So we got to look for a radius and we have to look for that center point. Ay, ay, ay. Well, how do you find the middle of 2 points? Midpoint. I know. So exciting. The middle of 2 points is called the midpoint. So to find our center point, we are going to need to find the midpoint of these 2 points. So do you remember how to find the middle? Well, think of it this way. It's kind of like middle's kind of like finding the average. So we're going to add up our x's. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2. We're going to do the same thing with our y's. That's your midpoint formula. It's just averaging those 2 points to find where they smack dab in the middle. Okay? So let's do it. So we get -1 plus 5 all over 2. And we have -4 plus 4 all over 2. Therefore, we are going to get -1 plus 5 is 4. 4 over 2 is 2. Again, I'm so sorry it's noisy in my house today. Enjoy the chaos that is my household. -4 plus 4 is 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So this is our center point. Yay. So we're halfway there. Now we just got to find the length of the radius. Well, we have 2 points that give us the diameter, so we can find the length between them. Just like the previous problem, we're going to use that distance formula. Okay. So, and again, if you like to label these, you can. Or you can just haul right into it. To each their own, whatever makes you happy. Okay. So we have 5 minus -1. That's really like 5 plus 1. Okay. You can write minus negative if you want. I do not care to. Then you have 4 minus -4. Again, that minus negative really means plus. So we get 6 squared plus 8 squared, which is 36 plus 64. Note that I'm keeping all of this under that square root because we have not evaluated the square root yet. Okay. So we get square root of 100, which is 10. So this, remember, this is the diameter, not the radius. The radius, should have given myself more space here. Whoops, run into the next guy. So that means our radius is 5, half of that. So putting it all together, we have our center point. So we have x minus 2, the quantity squared. Now, what's interesting here is we could write this as y minus 0, the quantity squared. But if you subtract 0 from something, does anything change? No. So we can actually just write this as y squared. And then that equals our radius squared, which is 5 squared, or as we're going to commonly see it in questions, evaluated as 25. So that in blue is your final answer. All right. This next one is super fun because we are given a circumference. So you got to go back in your brain and be like, okay, what's circumference? So remember, there's 2 ways to write the circumference formula, and they're both legal. So it's just whatever one seems to appease you at this time. We have C equals 2 pi r. Oh, my pi sign's a little messy there, isn't it? So C equals 2 pi r. Or you can write this as pi times diameter. These mean the exact same thing because 2 times radius, 2r, that is the length of your diameter. So sometimes, depending on the information given, one is makes a little bit more sense to work with than the other. So this is saying our circumference is 30 pi. So since our equation needs a radius, I am going to work with C equals 2 pi r, but you could use either. So that doesn't matter. You'll get to the same answer in the end for the length of your radius. So I'm going to substitute that in. We have 30 pi equals 2 pi r. And we got to get our radius alone. So we're going to divide each side by 2 pi. That cancels off. Life is good. Our pi's cancel off. 30 over 2 is 15, which means my radius squared, because we know we're going to need it at some point, is 15 squared, which is 225. So right now we're sitting pretty. We got our radius. Okay. Now, oh, is it centered at the origin? Oh, this question just got so much better. Centered at the origin. That means your point is 0, 0. Oh, that makes this nice. This makes this really nice. Okay. So again, we could write this as x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared, but that's silly. Like, we don't need to write that. You could, but it's going to be simplified in the end when you see it in the real world. So we're going to write this as x squared plus y squared equals 225. So thank you for the requests. Keep them coming in. I so appreciate it. And I hope this helps clear up your problem today. So have a great day. Make sure to subscribe and put in the comments any requests that you have. Bye, everybody.